Thank you for having us. Like you said, I am Officer Rod Lee. I've been a police officer in Raleigh for 17 years. I am currently the crime prevention officer for the Southeast District where you guys live. I was asked to come and speak about the Community Watch program, so I'll be glad to do that.
What's this?
I will pass to Officer McBride so she can introduce herself.
Hey everyone, my name is Nicole McBride. I am also on the community squad in the Southeast District. I am specifically assigned to your neighborhood. So I will be the one point of contact from here on out. If you have any questions or concerns, you can let me know. I have been on the department for 11 years and just got assigned to the Southeast District last year, right after I had my baby. He is a year old, so I'm a proud new mama, first son, so that's pretty exciting.
Like Mr. Campbell said, I am the crime prevention officer. I'm responsible for doing the community watch program. Not a lot of neighborhoods in the Southeast District have a community watch now. A few years ago, a lot of them had it. They just kind of fell by the wayside as the years went on. I think it's a great idea to have because you guys are our eyes and ears in the neighborhood when we can't be there. Understandably, your neighborhood is not the worst neighborhood that we have. You guys actually are a good community and don't have a lot of problems, which Officer McBride will go over when she goes over the crime stats for this neighborhood. But it's always a good idea to have a community watch. Like I said, you get to know your neighbors and get to know who you live around. And it's just great for us to have that in the community. We go to the next slide. All right, I'm not going to read like every bullet of this. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I'm just going to go over some highlights. So establishing a community watch program and what the intent of it is, I always think of it as creating a sense of community, putting the neighbor back into the neighborhood. By a show of hands, from what I can see on the screen, how many of you guys know your neighbor that you live beside? Well, that's good because a lot of neighborhoods don't know their neighborhood that they live beside. If you go up, like if we have a crime that happens in the neighborhood, we don't, ask them who your neighbors next door. Oh, I don't know who they are. They tend to themselves. They keep to themselves. I never talk to them, and so that kind of doesn't help us. I can recall years ago going to a burglary call and speaking to the neighbor. I was like, hey, has your neighbor been home or do you know where they are? And they're like, no, but I did see a moving truck next door and I just thought they were moving out. Well, the moving truck was the suspects taking all the stuff out of the house. So had the neighbor known that they weren't moving, maybe they could have stopped the burglary from happening. So the neighbor gets home from their trip and all their furniture and stuff is gone. So it's like, why don't we get to know our neighbors? We need to know who lives around us and behind us so we can kind of like look out for stuff like that. So I always say, get to know your neighbors.
I know one very well, and I know who the other three are, but I know one very well. Like we're always in communication.
Yeah, and that's good. That's what we need because like I said, a lot of neighbors don't know who their neighbor is. So if a suspicious cars in the driveway or suspicious people, it's just regular people to them because they don't know their neighbor. Where if you knew your neighbor, you're like, I don't think that's right because I've never seen that guy over there before. Maybe I need to call the police because that guy looks suspicious. And then that may be somebody trying to break into your neighbor's house. So always get to know your neighbors, at least the ones, I mean, you don't have to go through the whole block and know everybody, but at least the houses beside you, maybe the ones in front of you. And if you can, maybe the neighbor behind you, because 9 times out of 10, when we go to a burglary, we're going to talk to your neighbors that live beside you, in front of you, and behind you. And maybe one of them saw something that happened that could give us great information to help us solve our case. So organizing the community watch program, you guys have done just about all of this. You define the area, which is Village Lakes, the location, date, and time to hold the meeting, which is tonight. You've contacted me. You prepared the agenda. And so I'm going to go over what the chairperson and block captains do for you to organize your program. Next slide. So the purpose of the community watch, obviously, is to reducing the risk of being a crime victim, being better prepared to respond to suspicious activity. Like I said, getting to know your neighbors, reducing the fear of crime, and make your neighborhood more livable. Receive a community watch sign and post in your neighborhood. That'll come later. We'll discuss that on one of the last pages. What a community watch is not, it's not a vigilante force working outside the normal procedures of law enforcement. So we ask you, if you see suspicious activity or something going on, to please don't take enforcement action unless you're a law enforcement officer, but please get a good description or kind of see what's going on and get a license plate number and then call us and let us come deal with it, because we don't want to put you guys in situations where you may get harmed by somebody else that's committing a crime. So please just call us. It's a program designed for participants to take personal risks to prevent crime, and it's 100% guaranteed that crime will not occur in your neighborhood. But like I said, your neighborhood is pretty good, and Officer McBride will go over that later. Next slide. So the chairperson. So this is a big responsibility. So the chairperson is responsible for overseeing the operation of the community watch program in their community. They have a big responsibility. So normally, in most of our community watch programs, the chairperson is the HOA president, because the HOA president knows everybody, has everybody's contact information. They have their phone numbers, their emails, they know where they live, they know who lives where. So the chairperson is normally the HOA president. Now, it doesn't have to be for your neighborhood, but in most of the neighborhoods I've been to, the go-to person is the HOA president. So you may want to keep that in mind. Of course, like I said, they handle all the incoming calls from the block captains, review the community watch program. They give us information. They make sure you guys are holding meetings, and they arrange for me or another officer from my team to come and provide specific training, whether it be home security or anything like that, which some neighborhoods do have us come out, because we do what's called a security assessment or a security survey. So we will come out to your house. Mm-hmm. And you used to say, hey, I don't want to be a victim of a burglary or a crime. What can you do to help me out? So either myself or Officer McBride or somebody else from my squad will come out and we'll do a security assessment of your residence. We'll tell you to trim bushes, get better lighting. You might want to do this and, move stuff around your house or move stuff from the outside that gives people easy access to get into your home. So we come out and do security assessments at your residence, and it's free of charge. We don't even charge you for that. So I always tell people, just call me. Like if you're getting ready to go out of town, or you just want us to come look at your house and just say, hey, how can I not become a burglary victim? Just call me. My number is at the first page of this, and we'll set up something. I'll come out, myself and another officer, and we'll just walk around your property and kind of look it over and give you guys some recommendations. We'll type it up into this little format, and you'll have it. You don't have to do all the recommendations we ask you to do, but it's just recommendations that you'll have for your house to make you feel comfortable. So the chairperson still maintains a comprehensive list of all the block captains, which if they're the HOA president, they know everybody that's in there, and they don't make lone decisions. Next slide. So the block captains. So I know you guys have many streets in your neighborhood that are pretty long. So it'll be up to you how many block captains are in a block. But the block captains are responsible for getting their neighbors involved in the community watch program. They're the ones that distribute the information. So if you say you got a block captain for Marshgrass, so that block captain will make sure that all the people on Marshgrass have all the information they need to have for as far as community watch. And then they will have the name, address, telephone number, and email of everybody on their block. And this is a great way to greet any of your new neighbors that move in. So if you have new neighbors that move to the community, you say, hey, I'm the block captain, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, I'm here. We have a community watch. Welcome to the neighborhood. Please pass on your information so we can get information to you, reference if any crimes occur in your neighborhood. And it also serves as a liaison between the chairperson and the neighbors they are responsible for. Next slide. So like I said, do not take any risks to prevent a crime or to make an arrest. It's more important to be a good witness. Please be a good witness. If you can get us a good description, clothing, license plate number, where they went, anything. So if we come in that neighborhood, we can say, hey, that's the guy, that's the girl that they were talking about, because he has on the white Nikes with the blue jeans and the black shirt and the red hat. He'll stand out. And that way we can focus on that person rather than trying to focus on anybody else that's in the neighborhood. Keeping an eye on your neighbor's house and reporting all suspicious activity. Like I said, getting to know your neighbors and who's supposed to be over there. Get to know your neighbors' names and recognize them and their vehicles. And notify a trusted neighbor when you go out of town to pick up your mail or your newspapers. A lot of people don't do that. They don't stop their newspaper or stop their mail. So if you're getting ready to go out of town, I always say go to the post office and stop your mail and stop your newspapers. If you have trash day that occurs while you're going to be gone away, have your neighbor take your trash can to the curb. And then once the trash is picked up, take the trash can back to your house. I can drive through neighborhoods now and I can tell who's been out of town because their trash can sits in the same spot for a few days. So I know they haven't put it back. So I know that they're not home. So have your neighbor put your trash out and take it back. Attend as many community watch or HOA meetings as possible. Implement all security measures that we suggest and operational ID guidelines. Next slide. What makes it successful? Getting everybody involved. So this is difficult in a lot of neighborhoods because there's a lot of renters in the neighborhoods and people that rent don't care. So they're like, oh, I rent, it's not my house. I don't care. I don't want to do community watch. I don't want to have no parts in it. I'm not a homeowner. So most of the time, the resistance we get from community watches is from the renters. But if you can get them involved, that'd be great. But we always say young, old, married, single, homeowner, or renter. Communicate with your participants. Always communicate. Communication is the key because everybody's going to want to know what's going on in the group. If anybody has any ideas and inputs, just reach out to your chairperson and let them know what your ideas may be because it may make it work a little better. And they need to feel that the community watch program is working because if they feel that it's not working, then it's going to go away like most of the neighborhoods that we have. Set up the annual or quarterly meetings. I always say, we used to have community watches that would meet like once a month and it just got to be too much. So nobody ever came back and the community watch fizzled. So I always say do it every quarter, every 3 months. So you're meeting 4 times a year and then make it fun, like make one of the meetings a cookout or make one of the meetings a community event. Just don't be up meeting time. We gotta go sit around the table and discuss stuff. Just make it fun sometimes. If you do that, then it'll work out, I promise you. Because Brandywood is one of my favorite neighborhoods. They have a community watch. And that's what they do at their quarterly meetings. They make it fun. So everybody in Brandywood is having a great time with their community watch. Share information with your neighbors and of course, set up your telephone, your email tree. You guys aren't on Nextdoor, right? I don't think.
Yeah,
I didn't
we
see. Are you guys under something else? Because I didn't see like Village Lakes on Nextdoor. You guys
No,
are
we're
on
not.
there. Okay, I have to
Oh,
look.
they're in the general public. We don't have like a subgroup.
Yeah, I think we're under Southeast Raleigh.
Yeah, Southeast CAC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That also includes
we do have a Facebook page, although there aren't a lot of people on it.
only 60 or 61.
Okay. Have you guys thought of doing like your own Nextdoor for your neighborhood?
We could check into it.
Yeah, because most of the time, if something's going on in your neighborhood, I'll post something on Nextdoor just specifically for your neighborhood.
Okay.
So if something's going on in your neighborhood, I don't want to send it to the Southeast CAC because then the 780 some people will see what's going on in your neighborhood and they don't need to know that. So I would try to get a Village Lakes Nextdoor just for your neighborhood. So if Austin McBride wants to send you something in your neighborhood specifically, she doesn't have to send it to all 780 some people.
Do you have a contact? I know they have admins on Nextdoor. Do you know who those admins are?
I don't know personally. I know our contact for the PD, but I don't know who it is for actually Nextdoor.
Okay.
I'm sure you just go on there and just Google it. I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would get one for just your neighborhood specific. That way you can be reached out specifically just to your neighborhood.
Got you. I'll work on that.
All right, next slide.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine. Yes, communication is the key. Like I said, make sure the meeting announcement is sent out far enough and they're not last minute. Encourage your block captains to take lead roles. Keep your meetings brief. Yeah, that's another thing that some neighborhoods, they like to have long meetings and stay, and people have things to do in the afternoon when they get home, and in the evening they have a family, so they don't want to be at the meetings too long. So keep your meetings brief and on target. You guys probably do a newsletter for your neighborhood already. Do you guys know?
We used to have one.
Okay. Are you guys thinking about starting a new?
We'll see what we can get done.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would. Some neighborhoods do newsletters and keep people informed like I said, every quarter or a couple of times a year, just to make sure everybody knows what's going on in their neighborhood.
We have a platform called Town Square, which we try to use, but we don't have everyone on that.
Okay.
All right.
Recognizing your neighbors for the good things they do within your community. I know in my neighborhood, in the neighborhood I live in, we do like the yard of the month. So whoever's yard is the best for the month, they get an award. We do like chili cook-offs. Whoever has the best chili gets an award. So it's kind of like recognizing your neighbors for the good things they do. So I don't know if you guys do that in your neighborhood or thinking about doing stuff like that in your neighborhood.
Yeah, we are thinking about it. But again, COVID has us prioritizing other things at this time.
Right. Okay. Make sure the community knows that you're getting things done. Encourage social events where you can communicate more informally and be conscious of the tone of voice and language used when communicating with people. Always keep your tone and no need for arguments and stuff going back and forth at your meetings. Next slide. So the community watch sign. So this packet, when I emailed it to you, this was the price and all this other stuff. It has since changed. I just got an email yesterday
Okay.
that the community stuff has changed. So I will email that to you, Mr. Campbell, when I get more information. Yeah, that this whole page, all of that has changed. I think the signs are still the same, but I think the prices have changed or something like that. But I just got the email yesterday and I haven't really like delved into it to read it and see what the changes were. So
Gotcha.
once I get that information, I'll get it back to you.
Okay, sounds good. Appreciate it.
The next slide. And these are our resources. So a lot of people don't know who to call when something's going on. So I had this page made. Like if you want a street light repaired, there's a street light number, public utilities, animal control, the magistrate, if you need to call the magistrate for something, yard waste collection. And those are all our district phone numbers. You guys live in the Southeast District, which is at 2800 Rock Quarry Road. That's our phone number. But these are some of the resources that we come into contact with all the time with neighborhoods. So we figure we give you the easy route and the easy number to call if you need something done. If you have something that needs to be done and you don't see it on this page, you can always call me or email me and we can get it squared away. One good thing about us being on the community squad, we're a big liaison with the community. So if you have any trash concerns or somebody not cutting their grass or somebody's house falling apart, I mean, we know people in inspections, and you guys want to get speed bumps. We know people. In
Really? Okay, now.
So
I'm all right. We have this recording.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So if you guys are looking into that, I can get you the information, Mr. Campbell, on who to call in the city in reference to speed bumps. They'll have to come out and do a survey and all this other stuff. It's just a long, drawn out process. But because you have Officer McBride as your resource, you can contact her and be like, hey, Officer McBride, hey, who does speed bumps? And then she'll be able to get back to you and give you that information. We get calls like that all the time, and we forward it over, and then it gets done that way because there's a lot of work that has to be done on your end as far as the city and all that. So
I know there's a process, and there's usually, it takes a few years for anything to get done regarding that. And there are other concerns regarding how speed bumps may delay response times for EMT and stuff. So we'll take that offline and discuss it.
Yeah. All right. And that's all I have as far as the community watch. Does anybody have any questions for me in reference to the community watch? If not, I'll turn it over to Officer McBride. All right, Officer McB, you got it.
All right. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Again, my name is Officer McBride. I know you have my email and my phone number was listed at the bottom of the email, but in case anybody needs it, I'll make sure to provide that for, because I will be the point of contact for you guys, because Officer Lee is for more of the crime prevention side of things, just more of your community officer. So I wanted to go over a few things as far as the numbers go for your neighborhood. I had our liaison run the numbers for the past year. And so this is encompassing an entire year's worth of data. So pretty much the biggest thing in the past year, obviously with COVID, and then some of the other things that have happened throughout the year with the riots and such like that. The chief lives within your neighborhood. So there a lot of patrol in the neighborhood in the past year. So what's fantastic. So a lot of the crimes are obviously reportedly down, which is fantastic because of all the police presence that have been there. But your neighborhood is last year was the most looked after over the entire Southeast District. So I'm happy to say that. But there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention as far as some of the other things that had nothing to deal with the chief and the whole riot situation. The biggest call that we've got was humane calls. So loud barking dogs, dogs without a leash, probably some poop calls. So I think that was the biggest number that I saw. So if everyone has dogs, just make sure that we're curbing our dogs and making sure they're not pooping on people's yards. making sure that they're on a leash, because that is the law here in Raleigh and the Raleigh City Code, because you can get a citation for them. They are not cheap. The second most prevalent call that I saw were 911 hang-up calls. And usually with those, it's just people, now that you have to dial the area code, they'll be dialing 911 as opposed to 919 when they try to go out. So that's the second most prevalent call that we had. And the other one was talk with an officer. I think those were more or less just neighbors concerned about some of the suspicious activity that may have been happening in the neighborhood. So those are what we want to be able to come out there for. If you see something suspicious, obviously, please give us a call. That's what we're here for. And we'd be happy to come out. And obviously we want nothing to be wrong. So I would rather come out for nothing than it be something and you just didn't feel like it was worth calling for. So if you feel like something's not quite right, just give us a call. We have the non-emergency line if you feel that 911 is not the appropriate measure. And so you can call the non-emergency line and you can still request an officer out. But if you think it needs to be handled immediately, obviously 911 is the fastest way to get us out there. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to remind everybody, obviously we're having a lot of issues recently. Now that it's a little bit warmer, not so much, but let's not turn our cars on and leave the keys in the ignition. We're having a lot of vehicles being stolen because people are thinking that they're safe because they're in their driveway, and people unfortunately are, they take the crime of opportunity. And if you leave it there, they're going to take it. Unfortunately, and most of the people who end up doing that actually live in the neighborhood or are visiting a friend in the neighborhood. So make sure you are not leaving your car running without the key in it, unless you've got like a remote start. That's obviously fine. And then making sure that you lock your doors at night. There have been quite a few calls that people just don't forget to lock their doors, and then they wake up in the morning, go outside, and their car has been rummaged through and things have been taken. Most of the time it's like change and things of that nature, or charging cords. But just to remind everybody, please lock your car doors. And if you don't want to, for that specific instance, if you were to go out to your car and were to see that it was broken into, we do have an online reporting website. I don't know how many people are aware that we have this website, but that website is a good use if you don't have time to wait for an officer, or if you've got to get the kids off to school or something along those lines. We do have the crime reporting website, and I'll make sure to include that in an email to you so that you can send that out to everybody. But other than that, if you see anything suspicious, please give us a call, and obviously don't get involved. Like Officer Lee said, just be a good witness. If you can get clothing description, that's great. If you've got like a Ring camera, you can see if you can try to record it. But just call and let us know so that we can get the best description, and then let us know which way they went. They went, down the street to the left or down the street to the right. It makes a huge difference as far as how we respond and where we're coming from. But that seems to be the biggest things that I saw. There are obviously the occasional, disturbances or a few domestic responses. I'm guessing neighbors are hearing other neighbors arguing or things of that nature, and we obviously need to be called for those as well. So please be a good neighbor. If you think something's wrong, just call. It's better to be safe than sorry, unfortunately, is that's the best way to put it. But that list of resources at the last page that you had before has a bunch of great phone numbers. I have a lot of people ask me, random things like the trash can got stolen by the by the trash guy. He accidentally picked it up and it fell into the thing. Where do I report it? You can do that online, and then you can ask for a new one that way. Just random things like that. If I can't get if I don't know the answer, I'll get it for you. But I think that's all that I had as far as crime statistics for your neighborhoods. Does anybody have any questions. And I know I'm leaving out the information on the speed bumps, and I will get that to you so that we can get that process started. I know that that's a hot topic there, but we have a process, and I'll be happy to get you that information.
So I think the biggest problems that we have are barking dogs. And we've gone and talked to the people directly, and everything was fine for a while, but apparently it's not. And so do we call you directly, or do we call the non-emergency number if we have an issue like that? And there's also a kid who's been riding his very loud motorcycle, motorbike up and down the street, up and down the street, up and down the street. Is that something we call you directly, or that we call the non-emergency number?
So I do not work obviously 24 hours a day, so I won't be able to some nighttime. Dark.
I'm sorry, you're a senior police officer. You should work 24 hours. What is this? What are our tax dollars going for? Just
no,
kidding,
but,
of course.
I know, I'm playing. I'd be happy to forward that information up for you. But if you needed a response right then, I would either call the 911 or the non-emergency number. Like I said, I'm more of like a Monday through Friday, help with some of like the back steps and things like that. Obviously, if you have issues and things just aren't happening how you would like them to happen, you can just email me, let me know. And I can maybe reach out to the neighbor and see if there's something that I can help with, such as the barking dog. I can have one of my contacts with Humane and just be like, hey, this is an ongoing issue. Obviously, if the dog is out there and causing, noises throughout the night, and it's becoming a huge issue, there are fines associated with that. And then the humane officer will come out and handle that. So anytime that it's what I think the city requires is night hours, which is after 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and the dog is incessantly barking, just call the non-emergency number.
So it almost sounds like you're like the intermediary, that if we call the non-emergency number and we don't get the kind of results that we're hoping to get, then we contact you, and then maybe you can expedite it or send it up the chain, something like that. But that you wouldn't be the first person we would get up with.
Correct.
Okay.
So I am more of the follow-up, I guess, if you would say. You have an issue, you've called 3 times. Hey, Officer McBride, I have called 3 times. Nothing's been done. The dog is still barking. I need something else to happen. Can you please help me? And then shoot an email off to me. And I will get the address, and I'll come and chat with them. Hopefully 911 and the humane officer can handle it, and I won't need to be involved. But please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. I know that things like that can get frustrating time after time. And so we tend to educate first. We like to tell people, hey, this is Raleigh City Code. This is what you're in violation of. We usually give them a time, like a 2-week time frame to get in compliance with that. So like if there's an abandoned vehicle on the side of the street, we educate them, hey, Raleigh City Code says that you can't have that vehicle here. We let them know if it's still in here in 7 days, I'm going to tag it, and it's still here 7 days after that, I'm going to tow your car. That way we educated them, we provided them with the information, we gave them a chance to get the car moved. And at that point, you're kind of just, you're not moving it because, so we're going to take care of it.
Yeah, we had that situation a couple of years ago, and it took 2 calls to the non-emergency number before they took care of it, and they did take care of it. So we were pleased with that.
I have a question, because we've chatted about it on our Facebook page. I guess because of the way sound travels and where we're situated, we are hearing a lot of late night racing.
Street racing. So I know that's becoming a problem, but when it's keeping you up at 2 and 3 a.m., I mean, I called the non-emergency number one time, and they were very helpful, but they wanted to know where it was. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I think
somebody else in the neighborhood actually got in their car and went to find the noise, but they're moving, so we can't report exactly, where it's happening. So do you have any recommendations for what we should do about that?
So that is a huge problem we're having throughout the entire city, and it's not just your area. These car clubs are going all through Raleigh, all through Durham, and are kind of running rampant everywhere. So the Raleigh Police Department has, I think as of last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, has created a special task force to combat this. So we have several officers who their sole goal for the time frame that they work is to try to locate these vehicles and to make a dent into trying to stop this from occurring, because it is, I have several complaints about this, and we're trying as hard as we can to get them. They are everywhere, and they know kind of the loopholes that we have with the police department. So there are only so much that we can do. And then obviously we don't want to endanger anyone lives.
Yeah, that's what I said the one night that I called. I said, I don't want to hear some horrible accident happening, but anyway, okay, gotcha. I hear what you're saying.
Do have a task force, and they just started last week. So I'm hoping as they kind of get going, they start to make more of an impact and the word kind of gets out. And once we start taking their cars and seizing their cars, things will start to change.
Thank you.
I have two questions. Okay,
Yes, sir.
two questions. All right. One, officially, you mentioned that you come to do a free community assessment or safety assessment of sorts.
Yes.
Will it be done at any time, or must we have an established community watch first before you do that?
No, we do that at any time.
Okay,
Anybody
that's
can call
good to
and
know.
say, hey, I want to do a security assessment of my home, and then I'll set up a date and time, and I'll come out there and do the assessment for you.
Yep.
I'm kind of
That's
like
awesome.
McBride. I'm still like a Monday through Friday kind of person, but if it's needed,
No weekends?
if it's needed, I need to come out like in the nighttime or in the evening time because you guys work. I just have to adjust my schedule and do
Okay.
it. We'll make it work.
That's very good to know. That's very good to know.
A lot of people don't know that we do that, but I've told people that at many different CAC meetings, and we still have a lot of burglaries. And I'm like, hey, we'll come out and do this free security assessment for you and tell you how to not be a victim. Take advantage of it, because we'll come out there and do it for free where somebody else would charge you for that.
Right. Appreciate that. And my second question is regarding the Citizen app. Are you familiar with that?
I am not. I was looking at this screen and watching all these videos go
So
by.
it's very popular in DC and New York, the largest cities, where residents like ourselves would actually get on this app and share any kind of incidents that we are aware of. And the police also, or should I say first responders, are also part of this app. If I were able to sign in, I could show you something where there was like someone flipped a car, or no, there was a report of a fire on a toilet seat fire in Washington, D.C. I thought it was ridiculous, but it was reported because a neighbor reported it on the app. And he actually had follow-up by firefighters who confirmed it was just a toilet seat fire, and it was put out within 35 minutes. So it's an app where not the citizens are involved, but also first responders are involved. And I think that would be helpful if we could get that activated here in Raleigh, or mostly even in, well, let's start in Raleigh first in North Carolina.
Yeah, we can. I'll get with my sergeant tomorrow, and we'll discuss it and see how it works. And we have some IT guys that work in our district, so we'll ask them about it and see if we can get this going, because we have 6 different districts and 6 different community squads. So I think this would be a great idea for all of us.
Yeah, because you get not just reports, you're getting live streams of people are actually sharing what they're seeing real time.
Yeah, so I think this would be great for us. So yeah, we'll look into it. I'll get back to you and contact you and see where we are with this when we talk with our supervisors.
Okay, sounds good.
And one thing also McBride did not mention is I know a lot of you guys go to the parks. We have some suspects that are going around to the parks and smashing windows and taking stuff out of people's cars while they're at the park, either riding their bikes or walking and getting some exercise. So please, if you go to Anderson Point Park, or if you go to Biltmore Hills Park, Roberts, any park you go to at your leisure, please take everything out of sight. Put it in the trunk, take it with you. Do not have anything in plain sight, because what they're doing is just smashing your window and taking what they see in the seat and then running off.
Well, guess
Now
what?
you come back from walking, your window's broken, you got to pay for a new window, and your purse is gone, all your credit cards are gone. And by the time you realize that they've already charged thousands and thousands of dollars
On your credit card.
at
Well,
the
guess
local-
what? I got dash cams installed in my car, front and back.
Yeah, that'd be good. I tell people to do that all the time too, about putting cameras in your car. Some people are leery about that because they have passengers with them and all that are uncomfortable. But yeah, if you go to the parks, any park in Raleigh, because we don't know where these suspects are targeting, they're just hitting all the parks. We think it's the same group of people, and we're just trying to catch them. We've been working on it, trying to get them and find some video of them at Walmart and Target and stuff. So we're working on it. But until we make that arrest, please be mindful when you're going out to these parks. I know the weather was nice. We were at Anderson Point Park today. There were probably about 20 or 30 people out at the park today. And I didn't look at any vehicles. I wanted to walk by each vehicle just to see who had their stuff out. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to embarrass somebody. But take your stuff out of your vehicle when you're going to these parks.
Okay. Now, you mentioned sometimes, or what you find most times, I should say, is you get more hesitancy from persons who are renting because they really don't care about the homes they're in. What have you found that works in terms of encouraging them to participate in the community watch program? Like, what do you think works best?
I don't know, because like I said, most of the renters don't want to get involved, so I couldn't answer that. So I don't know if Brandy Wood has any renters. I mean, I can ask Dr. Lane and see, because he's had the most successful community watch that I've seen in the 17 years I've been here. So I can ask him and see, because he may have some renters in his neighborhood, but I'll ask him. I'll get back to you.
Who is this person?
His name is Dr. Lane. He lives in Brandywood, which is off of Barwell Road and Continental Way and all that. He's the HOA president, and he's the chairperson.
Gotcha.
And he runs the Southeast CAC. He's the chairperson of the Southeast CAC.
Oh, excellent. Very involved.
Yes, he is very involved.
Okay. Now I think we have perhaps 13 different streets in Village Lakes, either 11 or 13. Our community is not as cohesive as others.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll talk to Dr. Lane to see what tools he applies to get folks more engaged, because we're trying to do that. Again, COVID doesn't make it any easier for us. So.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Or just mention it to your neighbors and say, hey, once COVID's over, or once we're able to get back together, this is what we're looking at doing. And just poll your neighbors and see, or get with some block captains to see what the consensus is, and if everybody's going to be involved or not.
The question is, how do we get these block captains activated? Look at this. We have 8 people on this call, and 2 of them are officers, not from Village Lakes. So again, but I mean, Deborah is representing 3 others. So let's call it 9.
Yeah, I've got 3 neighbors that asked me to report after tonight because they couldn't make it. That's why I was asking about it being recorded.
Okay. And Mary? You gotta unmute.
I know, I keep unmuting it and you keep putting me on mute. Anyway, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I live on Hanscom Way, and we actually have several people who represent as community watchers. We even have a couple of people that, walk up and down the street sometimes during the night, just, checking on neighbors. And we have, we were doing this walkie-talkie thing where we do a check-in, but I think they've kicked me off because I keep it upstairs. And so we're going to work on doing a email kind of text kind of thing. But I'm pretty sure that, the strength of the captains that we have around here is more than one, and can take on probably more than one street. And Hanscom Way is kind of a long street.
It is the longest street in Village Lakes. You have units on that street.
Yeah, because we hear gunshots all the time, especially on Friday and Saturdays, but they're coming from the mobile home park. And what people are doing is, because I've had several officers come to my house to want to look at my Ring camera to see someone coming through the neighborhood, and they've gotten a couple of cars just from neighbors' cameras from people being shot at the mobile home park. Wow. And sometimes when I hear gunshots, I'm hesitant to call because I'm like, Was it a gun?
Or
Was it
fireworks.
fireworks? What was it?
Please call.
Okay.
Okay. I will.
Because, and
no
thank
one-
you for saying that, because on Nextdoor, folks are getting annoyed with people calling in what they think are gunshots. They're saying it's not, but you're saying do call if you think it, and I think we should. If you aren't certain, make the call.
I mean, I speak for myself. I think Officer Lee, when we would rather verify that in fact it was either a car misfiring or fireworks, and that be the case, then no one call, and then someone ends up getting shot, and then no one tells us about it. So I would rather err on the side of caution, and you hear them, we need to know about it. We need to know about where it's happening, when it's happening, where it's coming from. Because if the more calls we get, the more we can pinpoint a location to where it's coming from and figuring out why, so that we can keep it from happening.
Or if you had this app over here. Got you. Okay. I don't think I have any other questions written down. Do you have any questions?
Can I ask a question about the car? Go back to the car racing. Are they also playing really loud music as they? Because that's the other thing. If you don't hear the car racing, you hear the loud music. So we've had late night discussions on our Facebook page about where is that music coming from, because it's moving. So we figure it's the car racing. Yep.
Oh, you're Deborah.
Yeah, hey Mary.
On Facebook. Hey. Yeah, we have that music conversation all the time, trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's moving. So that's why we can't figure out where it is.
It's coming from the cars. I think one of the pictures that I had from an officer's body cam like a couple of months ago, where it had 6 subwoofers, 10 speakers attached to this one car, and it was taller than like 2 people standing on each other's like backs, and it was ridiculous. And I was like, what is that for? And he's like, so I can play music and dance in the parking lot with my friends. And I'm like, that's way too much money to be spent on that. But I mean, at the time he didn't have it running, so he couldn't give a citation, of course. But it's from the cars.
Yeah, it's either from the cars or so at one point in time off of MacB, where was that at? Off of where the guys were the Hispanic families, and then were playing music all night, and we couldn't find out where it was till like late at night.
Corporation.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was that loud to where you guys probably heard it. The neighborhoods down the street heard it. I think there was a neighborhood like close to Pool Road that heard it. And we were like riding around. I was working night shift, and we were trying to find out where this music was coming from. We had officers everywhere trying to find out where this music was coming from. And we finally pinpointed it and found it off of Pool Road and Carrier Drive and all that. They had this big party. And like she said, this guy had like 20 speakers on top of his car, a bunch of subwoofers, and there were like 100 people in this parking lot.
Wow.
Having a party. There was beer, liquor everywhere.
Were they wearing masks? I guess not.
And I don't mind if one of our neighbors has a really late night party and it's occasional. That's being, it's like, whatever, because we all might want to do that. I mean, our neighbor had one a couple years ago, but was smart, invited us, so, we only went for an hour and the party went on till 3 a.m., but it's infrequent, but when all this other stuff is going on, it's really annoying. And I'm thinking my one friend and neighbor, she was coming home late from work one night and she pulled in at the Sheets up here. And one of those car gangs like came in and like circled all around. She was scared to death because she didn't know what was going on. So maybe would that have been a good time just to call and say there's one of these, street racing gangs here, or?
Yeah, and I don't know if she called. I remember that somebody did call about that.
Okay.
I think by the time the officers got there, they had left.
They were gone.
I mean, these guys are high tech. They have scanners and all kinds of stuff. So we have to switch channels and try to talk on a different channel to respond out there, because if they hear us coming, they're going to leave, because they scan our, there's apps where you can hear where we're going. So there's an app you can put on your phone that says, oh, Raleigh police is coming. Hey guys, we got to go.
Yeah.
Take off before we even get there. So yeah, but if you see that, please call us. Like Officer McBride said, there is a task force that's working that. So if they need to focus more to New Bern Avenue and the Sheets, because they're focusing on Capitol Boulevard right now, but they need to focus more on New Bern Avenue and the Sheets and all that. Then they'll come over here and focus on this area for a little while they're doing their thing.
Yeah, they
Thanks.
watched a video where they had probably 200 people in a parking lot, and the guy flagged everybody down, and I kid you not, within 39 seconds, all of those cars were on their way out. It was insane. 39 seconds.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they have a system.
I always say where I work, we just had our website hacked with all kinds of links to porn sites put in. And I'm like, if people would use their time and energy to do something to benefit mankind, it'd be a lot better.
I agree. There are plenty of wasted talent out there on young and dumb things.
Well, my teenage son is enlightening me on some of these car things called car meets, and how they meet up. And when, just like I said, they hear about through social media that the police are on the way, they all scatter. So, or they see police lights. So I guess if we want to know what's going on, we need to ask some teenagers as to how to find out what's what and who's doing what. Because we're trying to figure out, and we're doing it the old way by talking to each other rather than talking to our kids, because they're the ones who know. They're the ones who have these apps and things on their phone, like was it Robot or Reboot or something crazy like that. These man, I got to get more tech savvy.
Yeah, I always reach out to my 25-year-old son or my 18-year-old son when I need to find something out.
Yeah, I used to be a juvenile probation officer, and I get all my information from my kids' Facebook pages because they post everything. They're not as smart as they think they are. They just use fake names.
Yeah. Does any?
You're muted, Mr. Campbell.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, that happens a lot. I blame it on old age. I was saying that I also have a fake Facebook profile just for my protection. No one needs to know who I am. But I was saying also, if we do get a community watch program started, that would help us a bit too. We'd have to have, especially with our block captains, because a block captain could be an 18-year-old, right? So who knows?
That would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's whatever age you want. It's not an age limit on the community watch block captain. So
right.
An 18-year-old wants to be the block captain because they're on social media, they're out a lot, they know what's going on, and that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, does anyone else have any questions for these wonderful officers? No? Hey, Karen. All right, well, I do.
Hi.
Hey, welcome. I know you joined us today. So we have this recorded. So we'll share this on the Facebook group page, and I think I'll also email it out as well so everyone can have access to it.
I'll take a look at it. I had a meeting earlier that ran really late, so I'm really late for this one. But I'll take a look at the recording.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're
I just
welcome.
want to say thank you to the officers for
Definitely
being available to us. I'm very surprised that there are not more people here, but
so am I.
I appreciate all those who are working to bring this into fruition. So I'm ready to get involved in any way that I can help out.
Awesome.
Happy to do it.
We may have to go knocking on some doors after COVID. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, I can certainly rally my street.
What street
or
are you on?
The people that I know on my street. I'm on Wheatcross Place.
Okay.
So I'm across the road. You guys are probably all on the other side.
We won't talk about that tonight. Awesome. Okay, thank you, Officer Lee, Officer McBride. We appreciate you. And guess what? The next large event we have post-COVID, you guys have to be there.
Yeah.
I'll do some
thanks
jerk
so
chicken.
much.
Yeah, just let us know. Like I said, we're community officers, or we're in the community. If you have a community event, you have a cookout, or just a cul-de-sac party, something, we'll be glad to come out and hang out. We love to hang out. That's what we do on the community.
Awesome. A birthday party? Hey.
Yeah. If y'all
I'm
have
just
a birthday
kidding.
party, we'll come to birthday parties. We come to baby showers. We come to gender reveals. We do it all.
Awesome.
We meet at 6 o'clock on Thursdays, ever since COVID started, out at our driveways. Happy hour on Thistlegate.
Well, we can.
Well, I don't know if I can do that, but
It's not a drinking party. A lot of us don't drink.
okay.
Okay.
But just in with
Thank
each-
you all for joining us, and let's all stay safe.
Thanks.
All right,
for
good
having us.
night.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
Akil, for arranging it.
You're welcome.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.